Hey guys, this is Matt for Creative, and today we are talking about the election. I've been extremely indecisive about what exactly to post, and as you probably can tell, I haven't posted anything really other than one short video. That video didn't get any traction, but it's just, it's really hard to vote these days. And I say that just because I've always felt locked down by a two-party system. It just doesn't work. I know that there are third parties. I know that there are independents. I know that there are so many other, there are other candidates out there. But the way that mainstream media, like in totality, they're always going to push only one, or they're going to push two. And that's it. And then after that, outside of that, there's going to be other ones. And I can kind of see a third-party candidate winning maybe in the next maybe 3 elections, but as of right now, when we still have these like centralized news sources, and unless they take over, you know, short-form content like Instagram and TikTok and Twitter, I really don't think they're gonna, like, these third-party candidates are gonna have much traction outside of that. So for me, I feel stuck in that. For a while, it was going to be Biden against Trump, two old guys that just are completely out of touch with everything. And then we kind of got like a revamp where Kamala Harris is now our Democratic candidate, and Donald J. Trump is still our Republican candidate. I was really trying to figure out how I was going to word this. Like this that I'm saying here. And originally I was going to do, and I don't see this as being a pessimistic title, but I see it as being more of a realist title. And that would be, the title of this video was going to be, I don't care if you vote. And that is something that I almost still feel very strongly about. And that's because, and this is why I've changed it to what the current title is, Voting is the First Step. Whether Harris or Trump is going to be our president for the next 4 years, whatever you care about, you have to make sure that you become an activist. If you are somebody extremely comfortable, and if you maybe privately do other things as in fundraise and talk to politicians, and you do all that stuff already, then you're fine. But I'm talking about the people who think, I'm going to go vote in this election and then I'm just going to sit in my hands and feel like that's it. That's not the end. That is really just the beginning point. And I can't understand, and unfortunately I have some friends like this right now. They are like, oh, and this is on both sides. They're like, I'm going to leave the country if so-and-so is elected president. I would say, and I've traveled everywhere on this earth, the U.S. has huge deficiencies in the way that they do things, because right now it's, and for the past many years it's been, we'll do something, we'll acknowledge that there's mistakes have been made, and then we will kind of commemorate this and say we're going to change going forward, while it's still doing the same thing over and over and over again. And one thing that I have come to realize is that to keep a nation as large as this, there are going to be no clean hands, just as any politician out there, regardless of if you're in the United States or another country, you don't have clean hands, because the way that you act in politics, it's different from how you would act as a normal person. A normal person can have decency. A normal person, a day-to-day person, I'm not going to call him a normal person, a day-to-day person has to kind of walk within guidelines that we all have. You have to be nice to people, you have to work with people, and as a politician, you do still have to work with people, but your end goal is getting what you want, period. What you want to happen has to be the end result, or you failed at what you're doing. In a different way, it's kind of like a business. You are there to make money for yourself, or you are there for your investors to make money. And you have to do that by any means necessary. The idea that there are business ethics and that there are political ethics, that doesn't exist. That truly doesn't exist. So while you may talk, and this is why I would be a terrible politician, to kind of speak about these things, it kind of like erodes the fantasy of a true political candidate in many people's eyes, because they're like, oh, my candidate is going for my good, or the overall good, which so happens to line up with my good. And it's always good against evil, and it's just flipping back and forth. And this is why having two parties doesn't really work, because one's good, one's bad. If there was a third, it would kind of mess up the good and bad dynamic, and it would make things a lot harder to actually kind of analyze and study, and it would probably make it a lot harder for people like who are casuals who just vote. I'm not happy about where this country is right now, but I would have to say, and this is something I told my friends too, I would prefer at this point, the do-nothing candidate, because it allows for activists like me to actually get out there and do what I want, to have more of an impact, because I believe a president that just kind of skates by and does really do nothing, and I believe that's who Kamala Harris would be. Of course, there's going to be like little things that every president will work in during, their residency there. But on the other hand, Donald Trump, he's like looking to make changes, and this is what I want. I want the political system to change. But you can't just be like, oh, the first candidate that's really kind of stepping out, that's gained traction as he has, he's not somebody to be embraced. He's just doing things because he's different. And people are thinking, wow, this is amazing. He's different. We have to go behind him because we need change. You can't have change for the sake of change. You have to have the correct change. So I think he was kind of more of like a testing ground, like a guinea pig of a candidate that's gone and has like so embraced this, that has been embraced by people around, that it's kind of like snowballed and he's become a real candidate. But I don't believe he is somebody who's really ready for prime time because of the way that he kind of acts. You have to keep people around, and one thing that I believe, whether you're a day-to-day person or you're a political candidate or somebody in politics or in business, you have to keep around the people that you don't like. You have to learn from those people. You always have to learn from the other side, or your naysayers, or people who say you're wrong or right, because if you have so many people around you that are just saying that you are right, that they agree with you, that's just going to become some like bastardization of an idea, of a concept, of what you really want to happen. You have to learn through failure, and you have to learn really a lot about everything. And I think this is kind of interesting. I'm a big Star Wars fan. So when you grew up, or when I grew up, there was a good side of the Force and the bad side of the Force. As we're making more content in this, whether you like Disney's, helming Star Wars or not, now that there is a gray area, this is really where we need to be as a people. There is no good, there is no bad. There is a middle ground of what actually happens. There's the choices that you make, and that's it, that's the choice. You're doing it for your reasons, which you think are good, and the other side thinks are bad, terrible, whatever it is. If you think that somebody's doing something that doesn't benefit you, or maybe other groups of people, campaign, be an activist, raise money, do something, and make sure that that money and your time goes, how do you say this? Just goes the longest way possible. You get the most out of your time. And I know a lot of people don't have this type of time because you work 40 hours a week, but I mean, instead of doing little things, do things on the weekends, do things when you have time. You can really campaign from your desk. You know, as I'm making a video here at my desk. You can also do it, you know, on your phone. You can do it anywhere that you have a screen. And a lot of people will think, you know, making an Instagram video or a YouTube video is not really going to do anything. As you put your voice out there, and as mass media knows that when they put something and blast it everywhere, it'll kind of like, it'll fall on our collective ears. It's becoming more or less like that in a little bubble with these like short form videos. Like, I think it's very important that you start making content. I've been doing this for over 10 years, and I think it's very important. For sure, if you want to make maybe an extra income, but it's also very important if you want to be like a true activist. So, all in all, I know this has been an 11-minute video, but the first step is voting. That's it. If you choose to vote, that's literally just the first step, and that's it. But that's not it. That's not the end of everything. So continue and make sure that you are an activist, a local activist, a nationwide activist, a world activist for what you want to happen. Because something, again, that I've come to the realization of, if you really want to stop something, as things are set up right now, you and I, us little guys here, have no power whatsoever. And that's just because we are distracted by other things out there. If we could put our full attention on things, I really think that we could have more change for what the actual people of this nation and of the entire world want to happen. Like, we want things to change. We better be willing to make that change, or to voice our opinion or dissent or anything of that. So please vote and then do more. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time.